You know when you get that weekend feeling on Friday and you just can't wait to get away from work for a couple days? What if you got away from work for a couple days on a cruise ship? Today, I've got what you need to know about taking a 3-night Royal Caribbean cruise. Here we go. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. There are a lot of different Royal Caribbean cruises you can take, including 3-night weekend cruises, which are really popular, but there are definitely pros and cons to doing a weekend cruise. And today, I wanted to break down the ins and outs of taking a 3-night Royal Caribbean cruise. You're going to find 3-night cruises most commonly out of Florida, although there are some shorter cruises that go from other markets as well, but there's always 3-night cruises available from places like Miami and Port Canaveral. So when we talk about weekend cruise itineraries, we're really talking about cruises that usually go out of a place like Florida and visit maybe one or two destinations. For the purposes of this video, we're going to talk about Bahamas 3-night cruises because, again, they're the most prevalent and the most common. Most weekend cruises leave on a Friday and return back early Monday morning. A 3-night cruise gives you the perfect length for a weekend getaway, allowing you to forget all the stress about work and you're gone basically midday Friday all the way until Monday. In fact, a lot of people who live in the area will actually go back to work on that Monday morning. Can't say they're not tired or anything, but they're definitely back to work on there. Rarely, although it has happened in the past, sometimes Royal Caribbean will offer a 2-night cruise. This is pretty uncommon and usually the result of a charter sailing that has put the ship off schedule, and so Royal Caribbean puts back 2-night cruises. They do exist, and if you can find those, hey, maybe you get back on Sunday instead of Monday, and then you can nap the rest of Sunday so that way you're ready for work. In terms of the weekend departures, you're going to find weekend cruises, places like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Port Canaveral, and also Los Angeles. Yeah, that's right. With Navigator of the Seas selling out of the West Coast, they do offer 3- and 4-night cruises out of there as well. And the reason why you're finding, by the way, cruises from these ports is because there are destinations close enough that they can do short sailings. Remember, in the United States, you can't do cruises to nowhere, cruises that don't visit a foreign port. Due to the Passenger Vessel and Services Act, the PVSA, foreign flag vessels, which are every single Royal Caribbean cruise ship out there, are required to go to a foreign port during their stay. So if you're cruising out of, New York or maybe even Galveston, it's a little more difficult to make that work. So where are you going on your weekend cruise? The most common destination is going to be one of two places in the Bahamas. Starting off with Nassau, Bahamas, which is the capital of New Providence Island. And again, it's like the hub of cruising in the Caribbean. It's just so darn close to Florida, so the distance is pretty short. Nassau is known for its beaches and aquatic activities. They also have a downtown area with some shopping and dining, but really, I think most people are looking to do something in or around the water. And then, of course, you have Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is Royal Caribbean's private destination in the Bahamas, and it's basically a staple of any short 3-night cruise. The island offers something for everybody, whether you're looking to spend the day relaxing at Chill Beach, join the party at the swim-up bar at Oasis Lagoon, maybe rent a cabana, slide down the tallest water slide in North America, through a water park. There's lots of things you can do, and it's basically a full day over here. If you're cruising out of Los Angeles on Navigator, then Ensenada is going to be the place you're going to be visiting because it is really close to LA. If you've taken a cruise to other Mexican ports like Cozumel or Costa Maya, you might be surprised at how different Ensenada is in terms of geography and the coastline, especially compared to the Caribbean. Whereas the Yucatan Peninsula offers jungles and Mayan ruins, Ensenada has more of a dry climate, and a day in Ensenada is really about enjoying nature or going to a bar. A lot of people end up doing that as well. The majority of weekend cruises departing from Florida don't have a sea day, although occasionally you might have one. It's pretty uncommon. Usually with the 4-night sailings, you get the sea day in there. If you are taking a 3-night cruise out of Los Angeles on Navigator, then yeah, you should expect a sea day there because you're going to go to Ensenada and then a sea day to be able to enjoy what's available on the ship. Now, some people, if they don't have a sea day, will opt to stay on board during one of the port stays, including Nassau. It's a very common one. So that way they can see advantage of what is offered on board instead of, maybe focusing on what's available in the port. So which Royal Caribbean cruise ship should you pick for a 3-night cruise? The itineraries are pretty much identical, especially in Florida. So you're basically picking between maybe a Voyager or Freedom class ship. And while some dining venues, bars, and water slides may differ, if you're going on board, you can expect a relatively similar experience no matter which Voyager or Freedom class ship you choose, although there are some differences you should be aware of. Number one, Mariner of the Seas does not have a baby splash pad area on their pool deck. So if you have infants under the age of 3 or really any kid in a diaper, that might not be a good ship choice for you. Navigator of the Seas and Liberty of the Seas offer different style water slides than other ships in the fleet. There's also an escape room available on Independence, Mariner, and Navigator. Freedom class ships are, of course, longer than Voyager class ships, which means more space for Splashaway Bay, which, again, if you got kids, that can be a compelling factor as well. And equally important for kids, Freedom and Navigator of the Seas both offer the new revamped Adventure Ocean 2.0, let's call it that, kids programming, which is really a step up from the old version. Now, something to keep in mind is Allure of the Seas is going to begin doing short 3 and 4 night cruises in 2023 and 2024. Traditionally, Oasis class ships have offered 7 night cruises, but Royal Caribbean is going to dip its toe with an Oasis class ship offering 3 and 4 night cruises from Port Canaveral beginning October 31st, 2023. So you might be wondering, well, should I pick Allure of the Seas for a 3-night cruise? A 3-nighter on Allure is going to be the type of sailing where really the ship is the destination, right? But it's a short amount of time. You're not going to have time to do it all, certainly on a ship the size of Allure of the Seas. And when you talk about taking an Oasis class ship for a 3-night sailing, of course, you're also going to have to balance what you're doing in port, especially at a place like Perfect Day at Coco Cay, and of course, what you can do on board the ship. Now, it is important to mention, by the way, that Allure did not get an amplification like the rest of her sisters did. So as a result, there may not be as many features to keep you on board and engaged. As an example, there's no water slides on Allure. This is not the end of the world, of course, because you are going to a water park at Coco Cay, but certainly something to think about. All right, how much does a weekend cruise cost? Weekend cruises are a great value because when you factor in the food, lodging, entertainment, and onboard activities, it can be oftentimes a great deal. Generally speaking, a weekend cruise in the cheapest stateroom category, which of course is going to be an interior room, will cost you between $700 and $1,000 total for 2 adults. The cost of a balcony is usually higher, somewhere around $1,000, maybe $1,500. Weekend cruises can differ in pricing depending on how far in advance you book the cruise, the time of year you plan to cruise, which stateroom you select, and whether you purchase cruise add-ons or shore excursions. Again, generally speaking, the further in advance you book a cruise, the cheaper the price will be. Booking a year in advance can usually net a much better price than booking at the last minute. Keeping in mind, by the way, that short weekend cruises tend not to sell out nearly as quickly as longer sailings. But I really think the biggest factor that changes the price of a 3-night cruise is going to be the time of year. Summer months and holidays are going to command much higher prices due to demand. So if you're going on a weekend cruise over Independence Day or a major holiday like Labor Day or Christmas, you're going to pay a pretty penny for that compared to a weekend cruise in February or January or even September. There's just a major gap in pricing. So if you're looking for a really inexpensive weekend cruise, try to take one in which kids are back in school. Now, as I mentioned, something else that affects the price is the category of room you choose. This is a 3-night cruise, and you're going to be in port a lot of the time and going to be doing things, and you're really going to want to maximize your time. This might not be a bad cruise to do an inside room. You're going to save a lot of money by booking an inside room, and you're not going to spend that much time in there because you're going to be out and about doing other things. If you're going to do one inside room on any cruise, it's a really compelling idea to do one on a weekend cruise. Now, something else you need to factor into your budgeting is the cost of cruise add-ons and excursions, right? Drink packages, what to do at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, like cabanas, access to the Coco Beach Club. These are all things that will drive up the price of a weekend cruise. And speaking of the drink package, you should absolutely expect the drink package to cost you more per day than it would on a 7-night cruise. Short cruises, everybody can get the value out of a drink package. Royal Caribbean knows this. So typically speaking, you're going to find much higher prices for a drink package on these sailings. So should you do a 3-night cruise? Here's the pros and cons. Number one, it is a really relaxing getaway. At the end of the day, going on a cruise for the weekend is much better than staying at home or even doing a land vacation and renting a hotel room or something. Because, of course, it's a great way to relax, get away from it all, and it really makes, I think, a mental difference to be able to actually get on a cruise ship versus, again, doing a little staycation near your house. Cruises tend to be more relaxing than weekend getaways, and there's no need to worry about driving from place to place, paying high prices for food at every meal, and finding something to do in every place you're going. On a cruise ship, that's all contained, of course. Another great reason to do a weekend cruise is it requires far less vacation time. Compared to a 7-night cruise, a 3-night cruise, because it's over the weekend and most people have weekends off, it may only require a day or two of vacation time. Heck, if you get hours, you might be able to shave those off as well. So being able to squeeze in more cruises with less vacation time can be a major difference for people in order to get more cruises in their life. Also, another great benefit of a weekend cruise is the ability to splurge. Because it's only a 3-night cruise, maybe you go for that drink package or especially dining package because it's only 3 nights. It's not going to cost you nearly as much to do the same packages on a longer sailing, and that can be a major advantage. But Of course, not everything is perfect with a weekend cruise. Let's talk about number one, of course, higher cost per day. Typically speaking, a big drawback of weekend cruises, the cost per day is probably going to cost you more than a 7-night cruise. Again, per night. When you break things out, the price per day can be a lot more expensive on a 3-night cruise than a 7-night cruise compared to even a longer cruise. In fact, some of the best values out there are going to be for longer cruises like 14-night cruises. Repositioning cruise, you ever look at the price per day? It's insanely cheap. But with a 3-night cruise, the cost per day will typically be more than when you're doing a longer cruise. And I also mentioned the drink package can cost you more, so you got that as well. Also, another downside to a weekend cruise is it really goes by very, very quickly. Booking a 3-night cruise is a great idea until it's Monday already, and you just couldn't believe how quickly time went by. It's amazing how quickly those weekend cruises go by. So while a short cruise is still better than no cruise at all, I'm going to guess when you get off the ship on Monday, you're going to regret that you don't have at least another couple days on board. And another disadvantage of those weekend cruises is don't expect a lot of variety. It's the same ships doing weekend cruises, and the itinerary is always the same. You're not going to get a whole lot of variety. So I hope you like Ensenada or the Bahamas because that's where you're going to be going. And I hope you like the Voyager or Freedom class ships because those are the ships you're going to be going on. Granted, Royal Caribbean is adding Allure of the Seas, as I mentioned earlier, in 2023 and 24, so we'll get a little more variety. But unlike 7-night cruises, in which you can pick a lot more ideas and places to go and different vessels, with these 3-night cruises, there's just not a lot of variety here. Now, again, I love these ships, and I can go on them many, many times, but if your goal is to do more and see more, yeah, you're not going to find them on a weekend cruise. And the last thing that really you should know about a weekend cruise is there is definitely more of a party atmosphere. Weekend cruises tend to attract more people who are looking to get away and really make the most of it, and that includes people on bachelor parties, wedding guests, friends, groups, people named Big Dog or on. They all go on shorter cruises because they're there to party. That isn't to say that it is one giant party and it feels like Mardi Gras every day. Far from it. But you're going to find a lot more people who are going to be taking advantage of the drink package, of the live music, and of the I am here for YOLO, get away from it for a couple of days. It very much leads to an extremely lively atmosphere on board. So if you're looking for a quiet weekend getaway, this might not be the option for you. So let me know in the comments below. Do you like 3-night getaway cruises? Are you a big fan of them? Or do you avoid them because some of those disadvantages I talked about? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. We'll talk again real soon.